Welcome. Welcome to your prana. I am Antoinette, and today we will be moving through handstand preparation. Now note I say handstand preparation because it's a continual gradual evolvement of your practice. We're not going to go straight into handstand. You might see if you can get there today, but I'm going to teach you some tools and techniques so you can at least practice and again evolve your practice so you can work towards a handstand. So I invite you now to find your comfortable seat and either close down your eyes if that feels good to you, or take a focus in front of you, a focal point, your drishti, and begin to breathe into the body, breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling into the chest, exhaling, letting it go. Using the arms if you wish, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, exhale. One more, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Placing your hands in your lap or maybe your hands on your chest, feeling into your heart space. Begin to breathe in and out through the nasal passage. Gently centering your focus, centering your mind, your body, your breath. And as you find what your stillness looks like, begin to come in tune with what your mind, body and breath is calling for today. What do you need? What kind of practice is going to soothe you? Taking a nice deep breath, expand the arms, take them tall. Exhale out the mouth once again. If you had your eyes closed, gently open your eyes now. Just begin to feel into the body, feel into the spine. So as we move through this handstand practice, there'll be parts that you feel really aligned with, there'll be parts that maybe will be a bit interesting to you. I encourage you to move into what your mind, body, and breath is calling for each moment. So if there's a pose where you find your breath is a little bit out of alignment, maybe it's a little bit heavier or harder to control, take a moment to settle it back down, find the even rhythm and flow. If your mind is wandering, find your focal point, your focus. And then if your body is feeling a little bit interesting, bring it back to a realm where you feel comfortable, but you're still gradually evolving your practice, still moving into the end range of the 70%, but not pushing it into the interesting realm of the 30%. So to begin with, our wrists. Okay, our wrists are a big focus in our handstand practice, okay? So we want to tune into those. To begin with, I want you to just take your hands back, your fingers back, and just open up through the wrists. Good. One side. Just a gentle light pressure here. Gradually opening them up and then moving to the other side. Then we're going to take the hands down, drawing the palm in towards the wrist. One side. And you might move the hand back and forth across the knuckles. And then the other side. And then taking the thumb, gently drawing the thumb back towards the wrist. No big force here, just light pressure. Other side. And then interlace the fingers, rotate the wrists one way 3 times. Good, other way 3 times. And now note the interlace of your fingers, the natural interlace, and now go to the funky interlace, and again 3 rounds one side and 3 rounds the opposite side. Good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extend the fingers as long as we can, stretch them out wide, and then bring them into a nice tight fist. Good. If you want to take them up tall, you may, in and out. And then now, do it as fast as you can. Go, 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 go. Faster, faster, faster. You can do it. I know those hands are fatiguing. Nice work. All right. Now shake the wrists out. Good. And then give yourself a gentle palm massage. Now note, if you're pregnant or you think you may be pregnant, just work towards the knuckles here, not so much into the wrist. Good. It's just a pressure point there that we want to make sure we don't get too much. If you're not pregnant, go for your life. Other side. And then shake them out once again. Good. Alright, feel into that spine. We're going to start by opening into a flow, and then we're going to move into our more specific sequences. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to stand up. We're going to find our Tadasana. So our standing pose. And yes, ideally we're going to be set up against a wall because we are preparing for our handstand today. So, taking the arms nice and wide, feeling into the 3 points of the feet, lifting our kneecaps, engaging our thighs, lifting tall through the crown of the head, drawing the belly to the spine. We're going to inhale up, find our mountain pose. We're going to exhale down, tilting at the hips forward, finding our forward fold. And now your first forward fold of the day. Might see your knees a little bit more bent, maybe working between the back of each knee. And then perhaps you want to hold on to opposite elbows. We're going to inhale up now. Find our half lift again. Those knees may be a little bit more bent to begin with than later. And draw the shoulders back towards the hips. Really engage that body. Trying to find a level spine, a long straight spine here. And then we're going to sink the buttocks back and down, keeping in tune with the 3 points of the feet. So big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel. Keep the knees tracking over the second toes. Chest is lifted forward, belly is to spine. Sink down to a range that suits you today. And then hands to ground, step back, find your down dog. Again, pedaling out through the left and right heel. Heels do not need to be on the ground, okay? But we're sending the energy of that heel down towards the earth. Lengthening through those sit bones, pressing in to the index knuckle and the thumb knuckle of the hands. And then from here, we're going to lift the left foot, find our 3-legged dog, take that toe up as high as we can. Keep your focus down at your mat. And then lower through your right heel a little bit more. From here, we're going to bend into the right, into the left knee. Find our scorpion pose here. And then knee to nose. Come forward for a little hover. Good. Send that leg back. And we're going to lower down through our chaturanga now. But first, we're going to lower our knees down. And then draw the elbows in towards the chest. Lower ourselves to our mat. Extend the toes long. And then we're going to look forward Inhale up, draw the shoulders back towards the hips, belly to spine. Maybe find a slight hover with the hands. Hands return to the ground, tucking the toes, lifting onto the knees, and find your down dog again. Walk the feet towards the heels of the hands, so trying to keep the palms on the ground for as long as you can. Maybe take the feet out a little wider, bend those knees if you wish, and then release into a forward fold here. Bending at the knees, tucking the tailbone, begin to roll one vertebrae up at a time. Inhaling, taking the arms wide, finding your mountain pose, and exhaling through heart center. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, half lift. Good. Long lengthened spine, keeping a neutral neck, gaze down at the ground. And then hands at heart center, sink the buttocks back and down. Lower the hands to the ground, step back, down dog. Begin to move those hips a little bit more, really feel into the body, and check that the ears are between the upper arms. From here, we're going to lift the right leg, three-legged dog. Lower the left heel towards the ground, stretch the right big toe towards the sky. Bend the right knee, find your scorpion pose, keep your gaze down at the center of your mat. And then knee to nose, slight hover here, and then send the leg back to find your high plank. In your high plank, really send the energy back through those heels, squeeze into the buttocks, and then lower the knees down, untuck the toes, descend through your chaturanga as those elbows come back towards the ribs. And then baby cobra once again. Inhaling up, opening the chest forward, belly to spine, raising the hands. Good, place the hands back on the ground, tuck the toes, lift onto the knees, down dog. From your down dog, we're going to tiptoe towards the heels of the hands again. So we're trying to find as much height as we can through our body as we come forward. Remember, take those legs a little wider if you need to. And then shift more of the weight onto your hands. And then lower the heels towards the ground. Release into your forward fold. Bend the knees, tuck the tailbone, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Arms extend wide, lifting tall to your mountain pose as you inhale. Exhale through heart center. Good. 2 more rounds, left and right sides. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, chair. Inhale, hands to ground. Exhale, step back, down dog. Inhale, left leg rises, three-legged dog. Exhale. Bending the knee of the left leg. Lower the right heel towards the ground. Keep your focus at the mat. Scorpion dog. And then knee to nose. Slight hover. And then send it back. Find your high plank. From here, either lowering the knees down or taking your full chaturanga now. Lower down, inhale up to maybe your baby cobra with a slight hover of the hands, maybe a cobra, or maybe a full up dog. Draw the neck out of the shoulders, head is tall, squeezing into the buttocks to safeguard, love that lower back. And then onto the knees or flipping the toes over, find your down dog. Tiptoe those feet forward towards the heels of the hands. You'll note that you begin to have a little bit more height here. Release into a forward fold. Begin extending more into the back of the knees, really lengthening through those hamstrings. Bend the knees, tuck the tailbone, inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, heart center. Last side, right side, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, chair. Inhale, hands to ground. Exhale, step back, down dog. Right leg raises, three-legged dog. Lower the left heel towards the ground. Right leg is long and tall. Extend through the back of that knee. And then draw the knee to the nose. Slight hover here. Send it back. High plank. And again, option, lower down with your knees or take the full version. Chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra, cobra or up dog. Onto the knees or flipping the toes over. Down dog. And then tiptoe those feet towards the hands. Release, forward fold. And then tucking the tailbone. Rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, through heart center. Great work. Okay, so shaking the body out a little bit now, giving yourself a little wriggle, little movement side to side. Shake those arms out, shake those shoulders out. Good. Move the hips side to side. Or you create a bit of a swinging action with those hips. We're going to need those hips to be nice and fluid today. So, moving into our handstand preparation, we've moved through our flow, we've warmed up the body, we've warmed up the wrists. Now we're going to gradually move towards what we want our handstands to look like. Okay? So, first off, you're going to find your wall, you're going to reach your hands nice and tall, and you're going to walk your hands down, walk your legs out, and you're going to find a right angle, roughly, okay? We're all different, we're all unique. And from here, this is called your supported down dog. Some of you who are practicing aerial with us will be very familiar with this in the aerial swings, but this can easily be replicated with a wall. Good, so really tilting that pelvis forward, lifting long through the hamstrings. Checking into the 3 points of the feet, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the center of the heel, and trying to lighten those toes. Not let them crinkle. And then we're going to walk back up. You do this 4 times. Up and down. Move the hip side to side. And as you move the hip side to side, really lengthen through that side body. Here we come up. I'm going to give you 2 variations now if you wish to take them. Lower yourself back down. Option now, release the right hand, let it hang down, shake it out. Really press through the left hand and then reach that right hand towards the outer ankle of the left foot. Return the hand, walk back up, and when we come back down, we're going to repeat on the left hand side. This is our fourth round now. Press into the right hand, release the left, shake it out. And then reaching the left hand to the outer right ankle. Placing it back up, walking yourself back up. Really find the length. Maybe look up towards the hands. And then walk yourself down, all the way down to your mat. Place your hands on your mat. Set up in your down dog. So from our down dog here, what we're going to do now is just like we did in our flow, but now we're going to find more height with the hips. So we're going to walk our feet in towards our hands, really on our tiptoes now, shifting the weight into our hands, and then walk it back 4 times. Now if you find that you've got really good length in your hamstrings, what you could do here is you could have blocks positioned here that you step your feet up onto. If you don't have blocks at home, you can use books, maybe some big tile plates are lying around, whatever works for you. And again, as you're walking in and out of this, be sure that you're pressing into the index knuckle and the thumb knuckle, the 2 inner joints of the hand. Good, one more. And then taking it back out. Good. Lowering the knees to the ground. Taking a moment, shaking out those wrists. This is a really good time that if you've got a bit too many layers on or you're warmed up, just to take one off, pop it to the side. As you may be aware, with handstand practices, things do get heated a little fast. Okay, so shake those wrists out. Come back to those wrist movements anytime you like, okay? So feel free to just maybe catch up with the video or maybe put it on pause if those wrists need a little tender love. Okay, so now we're going to move to our down dog, flowing into our chaturanga. Again, you have the option of the knees or not, okay? Totally do what's aligned with your mind, body and breath in this moment. So setting up your down dog, your upside down triangle, feel the position out, draw the shoulder blades into the body, turn the inner elbows forward, and then lower yourself down to your high plank, and then option for knees, lower them down, untuck the toes, draw the elbows in towards the body, lower yourself down. From here we're going to come back onto the knees, tuck the toes, down dog. For those of you taking the full version, lowering down to your high plank, and then lowering down to your full chaturanga. Good, 2 more. Inhale, travel forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, return the hips. Good, right. Walk it out here. And now we're going to step the right foot into the center of the mat. Okay, so bringing in about halfway between your hands and your rear foot. Okay, if it needs a little help, just grab it behind the calf, help it forward until it's roughly knee is over heel. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to find a little balance with the rear foot, pressing down to the 3 points of the standing leg, lifting it up, and today I want you to be pointing your toes. Now you have the wall here for support if you need it. But we're just going to come up, find our warrior 3. Hands can be in heart center, hands can be lightly supported here, or maybe out here. Then from our warrior 3, we're going to lower ourselves down. We're going to take the left toes tall and tilt those hips forward, lowering our chest closer towards our knee. Nose can be in alignment with your big toe. And again, check that those toes aren't crinkly. Good. Alright, finding our warrior 3 once again. Lightening the hands. Lengthening that rear leg long. And then lowering down our standing splits. Alright, draw the left foot in. Let it meet the mat. Let it come to center. Take those right toes back. Point the foot. And then again, warrior 3. Remembering one side is always going to be different than the other. Lowering down. Standing splits. And then lifting up. Warrior 3. Lowering down. Standing splits. And then let those feet meet together. Find a forward fold here. Good. And then bend the knees. Take a little small squat here, supported with the hands. And maybe if it feels good, you can take the palms back, palms facing up. Let the head rest. Take it down. Alright, coming to a seat for a moment. Shake the body out. Shake the spine out, give yourself a little wriggle, a little jiggle. And now we're going to move into our handstand leg lifts. Okay, so notice how I say leg lifts. I just want you to practice this part here. Okay, so don't worry about getting up. I will show you what it looks like when you get up, but don't worry if you're not there today. That's perfectly okay. So when we're placing our hands, we want our hands to be roughly shoulder width apart. And as I've talked about, the index knuckle and the thumb knuckle, pressing the weight into these 2 points here, keeping those fingers extended and long, okay? When we're going up into this, I want you to think of your leg as a lever. So your raised leg as a lever, okay? So when we stood up before, we practiced levering our legs out, we had a bit of a shake, okay? Now, when you're going up and down, we don't want any kind of jolts on the ground, okay? We want it to be a floaty sensation as it goes up and it goes down. The leg that is lifting is the lever. That is where all the force is at. The leg that is closest to the ground, your base leg, shouldn't be pressing off the ground, okay? Now, I know if you've got a gymnastics background or anything like that, that's exactly how you were taught, but we do it slightly differently in the yoga realm. So, I will demonstrate, okay? I will do 4 rounds, twice on each leg. Maybe you just do once, okay? Feel it out. So I'm going to place my hands shoulder width apart. I'm going to keep my focus down in between my 2 thumbnails. Okay, so find a center. If you've got a yoga mat that has any descriptions on it, really helps to find the focus point here. And then I want you to start on whatever side feels easier, okay? So we're going to come to our down dog first. We're going to step 1 foot into the center, just like we did when we were preparing for our warrior 3. And what we're going to do is we're just going to lever the leg for a few times, okay? Lever it up. Good. Point those toes. And see how I'm getting a bit of a lift here? This leg is doing all the work. This leg is just going with the flow, okay? Slowly moving up, slowly moving down. So I've done one side, let's do the other. Okay, find your down dog. Step the opposite foot into the center. And again, pointing the long leg, finding your little balances here. Good, all right. Shaking it out, moving the body. Okay. Now notice how that felt. One side's always going to be different than the other, and it might change from day to day. But if this is something that you want to continually evolve towards, a handstand practice, then I really encourage you to practice things like this. Maybe every second day, maybe every day. Just feel what feels good to you. Now we're going to move to our down dog, to our tabletop hover. So first off, I'll show you a tabletop position. So tabletop is hands shoulder width apart, just like our handstand, and shoulders are directly over our wrists. Okay, so we're bone stacking here, and then our knees are hip width apart with our hips directly over our knees. What we're going to do here is we're going to tuck the toes, okay? Tuck the toes. We're going to gently press the heels back, lift the legs, lower down. So when we're lifting the knees off the ground, I want you to think there's just a little bit of like a blade of grass. That's only how high I want you to lift them, okay? So just feel into that engagement first. And we're pressing the hands away from the knees, the hands away from the feet. So it's a downward pressure and a forward pressure with our hands. Good. All right, from here we're going to find our tabletop hover. We're going to send it back to our down dog. Good, travel forward, lower down, maybe you lower all the way down, maybe you keep that hover, take it back. Good, bring it in, take it back. And last one. Good, all right. Shake those hands out once again, move through the shoulders. Okay, now we're going to move into our L handstand. So we did our supported down dog. We were at right angles roughly to the wall. Now we're going to invert that. So our hands are going to be on the ground, our feet are going to be on the wall. So when I talk about the 3 points of the feet, which I have at the start of the practice and a few times throughout, I want you to think of this as your big toe mound, your little toe mound in the center of your heel. Now when you prepare for this part, you're going to need to put even pressure into the wall to then walk up it. Okay, so again, downward pressure, forward pressure with the hands. And begin to find the walk and the height here. And then lower it back down. Now, mine is at a right angle roughly. We want to try to get the hips over the hands. Okay, but to begin with, it may not look like that, and that's okay. Okay, might look a bit more like this one here. Okay, maybe hands are even further forward. Let's take 2 more rounds at that. Once more, and again you can just kind of pour the wrist out in between if you like, just like a cat. And then preparing for our last one now. All right, nice work. So now what we would do is we do our supported handstand, okay? So if you have a partner around with you, this is a really good one for you to practice them with, okay? So when you have a partner, what the partner can do is kind of stand in a saddle stance, okay? So one foot's pointing that way, one foot's pointing that way, okay? Someone tried to move me right now, they'll have a really hard time. If someone tried to move me like this, it'll be a lot easier. Now your partner will have one hand here and the other hand here. You'll be on the ground and you can slowly kick up and down. You can practice your kicks here. Now if you want your partner to, you may ask them to assist your leg up. But partners, be really clear on the communication between you and the practicer, okay? If they don't need your assistance or don't ask for your assistance, don't try and force them up, okay? Let them move in their own time with their own abilities. So, if you don't have a partner for this one, just practice those leg lifts just like we did, but maybe this time you get a little bit higher. Maybe you're a little bit warmer, the hips are feeling better and you're starting to get the grasp of it. Okay, so placing it down, point those toes. Lower down gently. Okay, so twice each side. Again, it might not be all the way up. That's okay. And last one. Good. All right, find your tabletop. Send those hips back and down. Find a child's pose for a moment. Rinse those wrists out. Let the forehead rest on your mat. Or maybe you cross the forearms for a little pillow so you can your head can rest upon them. Good. And then walk the hands back towards the knees. Give your wrists a nice shake out. Maybe a little stretch. So if you are doing this with a partner at the moment, give them the space to practice too. Okay, so now we're going to move into our turbo dog. So we're going to come to our handstand, our down dog position. And we're going to practice combining the chaturanga arms with our down dog. So we're going to travel forward, we're going to bend the elbows, lower them down towards the ground, and then lift them back up, extend. So down dog, lower the elbows towards the ground. Note how I say towards, they don't need to touch, as long as there's that slight little bend there. And we're turning the inner elbows forward as we descend. Okay? Good, last one. Good, lowering the knees to the ground. And again, shaking those wrists out. Okay, now we're introducing crow pose. So our handstand practice, it's a lot about using your body weight, shifting it in the right areas, and you don't necessarily need to be strong at all, but you need to know how to use your body in the right ways. And this is a really good one to help with that. So we're going to take those arms nice and wide. We're going to set up in our down dog to begin with, and then we're going to walk our feet towards the heels of our hands again. So keeping those hands on the ground. Then we're going to tiptoe, lift our knees in towards our underarms, bend our elbows, find your focal point, and maybe one foot comes off the ground, maybe the other, or maybe you find a float with both. Good. Your resting pose can be a yogi squat here, helping opening up the hips. lifting the chest tall, and then draw the knees outwards, have that outward pressure there. Now, if you want to, you can have a pillow here, okay, to help with that. Maybe you've got some blocks that are helping get your legs up a little higher so it's not so much distance to lift the toes off. Move through that 3 more times. Again, if you want to pause and practice, feel free to. And finding your last one now. Good. Well done. Now we're moving into our forearm stand. Only 2 more poses to go, okay? So our forearm stand. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our forearms on the mat in front of us. The way I like to set it up is here, okay? We want to keep those pinky fingers nice and loose though. We want to keep those elbows a little closer together than you think. The skin here likes to move on your mat, okay? So take them in a little closer rather than have them too wide. Now, when we're on the mat, your focal point is going to be right through the center of your wrists, okay? So about this height here, we're going to keep that focus down at the mat. We're not going to look through towards the end of our mat, okay? Another option, different wrists, different bodies, like different variations. You can have your hands flat like this, or if you have a block handy, feel free to have your hands set up like this. So I'll show you the 3 variations. Now this is the way I'm going to teach today, like so. Another variation is like this, and then the last variation is having a block in this space here. Okay, so just check that your hands and your elbows are in the right space, taking them a little closer than you think. Find your dressy point. So this is your turbo dog here, a variation of it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start on the side that feels a little easier, and just like we practiced those kicks before, keeping the focus down between the wrists. Good. Trying on the other side, keeping those pinky fingers nice and loose. Good. Maybe it's just once each side, otherwise go for the full 4. And then take it back to a child's pose. Take 2 more breaths here. And then walk your hands back towards your knees. Find a comfy seat, take a moment, feel into the body. And then we're going to move into those handstand leg lifts one last time. So again, remembering it's from the hinge of the hip. The lever is doing all the work. The grounded foot is doing minimal work. Starting on the side that feels best to you. Place your hands, prepare yourself. Set up your hands, set up your body, find your focal point. Keep your hands Nice and level. Try not to crinkle the fingers too much. If you're doing the full 4 rounds, we've got 2 more. Otherwise, take a child's pose and rest here. And child's pose if you're not already there. Take the knees a little wider now. Reach those fingers forward. Let the head rest. Sink the buttocks back and down to your heel, to the back of the mat. And then option, let the forehead rest on the mat. Take the arms back, palms facing up. Let the shoulders separate, melt down towards your mat. On your next inhale, bring the hands forward. Take them long once again. Look forward towards your thumbs. Draw the hands, press them down into your mat. Draw the hands and the shoulders into the body by keeping them still, just with pressure. Then walk the fingers to one side. Lengthen the opposite hip back. So I've walked my fingers to the left side. I'm drawing my right hip back. Lengthening through the right side. Walk the fingers back through center. Move them over to the right side now. Draw that left hip back. Bring them back through center. Lift up to your tabletop. Scoot the knees out to the side. Bring them forward. Recline yourself down to your mat. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a slight little hug here. Just roll around on that lower back. Maybe knees descend more away from the body to reach lower into the spine, more into the tailbone region. And now we're going to set up for our happy baby. So draw the knees towards the underarms. Take the heels towards the sky. Hands can come behind the knees, maybe the calves, feet, or over the toes. Let your hands rest upon your feet. Your shoulders be relaxed, your head heavy. And notice how the tailbone likes to lift off the ground. Draw the tailbone down towards the ground. Find a little engagement through the lower belly. See if the knees can descend towards the underarms a little more. And keep any facial expression soft. And maybe you begin to walk out one knee at a time, finding the extension. Maybe there's a little roll. You feel into the true feeling of happy baby. And then we're going to bring the heels together, bring the toes together, tuck the chin. From here, you can either hold onto the outside of the ankles, maybe the feet, maybe they interlace, or maybe you've just got the toes. And then send the knees away from the upper body. Open up those hips and release through the shoulders. Let the shoulder blades separate as the chin tucks towards the chest. And from here, bring the knees back into the body. If you've got a nice comfy surface, maybe you roll a little bit, maybe it's just a small movement as you squeeze in and out. And then now we're going to take the legs up on the wall. We're going to shimmy ourselves closer to the wall. So use those elbows. Get the buttocks in as close as you can. Take the arms out wide, palms facing up. Tuck the chin into the chest, the shoulders into the body. Begin to find your stillness once again. Either closing your eyes down or maybe finding that focal point. Finding your breath. Releasing into the body, releasing into the mat beneath you. Allowing thoughts to fade. The breath to soften. Gifting a few moments of stillness and silence to yourself. If you wish to remain here a little longer, feel free to do so. Otherwise, bend the knees. Take them out wide for a moment. Let the heels settle towards the hips. Take the hands behind the head. Let them rest upon the ground. Reach those fingers long. Take a full body stretch from the hips to the fingertips. And then bring the knees together. Roll onto the right hand side. Keep that right arm long to use as a pillow for your head. Resting here for a moment. Just observing how you feel. Remembering how you got to this place of peacefulness, of stillness. Remembering and knowing that you can access this at any point in time you desire. All it requires is a little bit of connection and internal awareness. When you're ready, using your hands, slowly make your way now to your comfortable seat. I'm going to take 3 deep inhales to close this practice. Inhale, take the arms wide, lift them tall. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Last one. Exhale out through the mouth. Let your hands rest at heart center. Let your head bow towards your hands. Give yourself thanks now for taking this time to be and to connect with your mind, body, and breath. Namaste. So give yourself a little pat on the back, maybe a little thanks. I welcome you for taking this time to be with yourself, gifting yourself this practice. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to connect. maybe write a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any requests for classes moving forward, please let them be known to us. Have a fabulous day, and we shall see you again soon. Much love.